In a small sun-soaked village of ancient India, the young man named Dev toiled endlessly in the fields. His hands were calloused, his clothes threadbare, and his heart heavy. Born into poverty, Dev struggled to make ends meet. Day after day, under the blazing sun, he worked tirelessly, but no matter how hard he labored, he always seemed to fall short. His life was a cycle of hardship and frustration, and the weight of his worries was etched on his weary face. One fateful day, as Dev walked through the village, he noticed a group of people gathered around a calm and serene figure. The figure was none other than Gautama Buddha, sitting under the shade of a grand banyan tree, his face glowing with peace and wisdom. His words flowed like a gentle river, carrying messages of love, compassion, and the possibility of a life free from suffering. Dev was drawn in, captivated by Buddha's presence, feeling as though a veil had lifted from his eyes. After the talk, Dev, his heart now stirred, approached Buddha with hope in his eyes. He asked, "How can I achieve the happiness and peace that you speak of?" With a kind smile, Buddha responded, "The key to happiness lies not outside, but within you. You must learn to look inside yourself to find the peace that already exists there." Over the following weeks, Dev stayed close to Buddha, learning to meditate, cultivating kindness, and practicing compassion, both for himself and others. Slowly, a quiet transformation began within him. As the days passed, Dev's world began to change, but not from any external circumstances. He no longer viewed his daily struggles as burdens, but as opportunities to grow. Gratitude filled his heart for even the smallest joys, like the warmth of the sun or the simplicity of his daily meal. One day, while walking through the village, Dev met a young boy who was crying because he had no food. Without hesitation, Dev invited the boy to his humble home and shared his meal, feeling an immense sense of fulfillment as they ate together. From that moment onward, Dev dedicated his life to helping others. He became a symbol of kindness in the village, a man known for his generosity and open heart. No longer burdened by the weight of his own hardships, Dev found joy in giving and serving. He understood that true happiness came not from wealth or possessions, but from love, compassion, and selfless service to others. The story of Dev and Gautama Buddha spread far beyond the village. People came from all over, seeking to learn from the wise teacher and the man who embodied his teachings. They discovered that happiness was not something to be pursued in the outside world, but something that existed within them all along. Through kindness, compassion, and the service of others, they too could find a peace that never fades. Dev's journey and the teachings of Buddha remind us all of a simple truth. Happiness cannot be found in the material world. It exists within us, waiting to be discovered. Life may be full of struggles, but it is also filled with opportunities to learn, grow, and share love with others. By practicing gratitude, kindness, and compassion, we too can find the inner peace that makes us feel content and fulfilled.
In a little village under the sun, a young man's life had just begun. He worked so hard day and night, but nothing seemed to go right. Until one day along the road, he found a sign like a secret code. A message there in colors bright, saying find your peace in the morning light. Oh, the peace within starts with a simple grin. Oh, the peace we find is in our hearts and minds. He looked around at the field so green and saw the beauty young man's life had just begun. He worked so hard day and night, but nothing seemed to go right. Until one day along the road, he found a sign like a secret code. A message there in colors bright, saying find your peace in the morning light. Oh, the peace within starts with a simple grin. Oh, the peace we find is in our hearts and minds. He looked around at the field so green and saw the beauty he had never seen. He took a breath, felt the wind's caress, found his heart in a quiet recess. The village smiled with the rising sun. He knew his journey had just begun. With every step and every mile, he found his purpose with a joyful smile. Oh, the peace within starts with a simple grin. Oh, the peace we find is in our hearts and minds. The peace within starts with a simple grin. Oh, the peace we find is in our hearts and minds.